Hi everyone on Instagram. Welcome. Happy Monday. We are running this live on a Monday and here we go. So people have joined and today I am going live with Telma, who is a fantastic, lovely person. And let me get her in. And we are going to speak about the rest of 2021 and how to stay strong until December. Hey, Telma,
Hey,
how are you?
good. I'm so excited that we finally got to this point.
I know. The last time I had to cancel because I have a sore shoulder and I was completely exhausted from it. So, and just for everyone who's on the live now, it's so funny. So I'm in Germany, I'm in Europe, and Talma, she's in the US. And so to coordinate our times, it didn't work out so well. And that was my mistake. So, and I was actually reminded of one of our IT guys that worked in a previous company with me. And he always said, usually the problem is between the keyboard and the chair. And I think that this time was it was on my side.
Actually, you don't really have to own that. The whole time zone and me, we don't get along. And in our the time doesn't change, which actually is sometimes harder because everybody else's changes. And so I never really think of that. But yes. We made it. Here
We
we are.
made, in the end, we made it. Good. So what time is it now for you? It's early morning, right? Or
Yep,
morning?
9 in the morning here. And I forgot that the whole time zone changed exactly last night, right? Or when does it even change?
Um, on Sunday. So yesterday morning we were in the new time. So yeah, I think everyone needs some time to get settled. But Tama, it was so good to finally get the time to speak to you. So just for everyone, we met, Tama and I met a few months ago, beginning of June, when we joined a group coaching program called Slay the Mic. It was a fantastic program, and it is really all about using your voice, whether that's in your corporate role or personal, or going live like this, or just speaking your truth. And that's how we then in the end met. And so Thelma, we decided we wanted to speak about finishing 2021 strong. And I think I was probably a bit selfish when I brought this topic up, because I sometimes feel this time of the year I feel the effects of the first 10 months of the year. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. And I feel like for most people, even when it's really hard to recognize it because we are going crazy with the holiday season and the hype that it comes with it, we don't really take the time to realize that it is exhausting and it is still 3 months that we have to end the year strong. So I was really excited that you picked this topic because it's going to be an awesome reminder for you and me and hopefully everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I find sometimes that at this time of the year, people feel, let me just push through and get to Christmas and get some rest. And like you said, there's still a lot to be done in November and December before we get to the end of the year. So I think sometimes I feel it's a shame to just push through and wish the day's over just so that we can get to the end of the year.
Absolutely. And I mean, it doesn't always happen to just during the holidays. Most people sometimes are stuck on that survival mode the whole year. So hopefully I can pick a few tips from our conversation today to realize that it doesn't have to be that way. In Arizona, these are the best months on weather-wise. So pushing through or just getting through it and not necessarily enjoying it is almost unacceptable because we had to hibernate the whole summer because it's so hot in here that you have to be really conscious of the fact that this is the time to actually get out in nature and hike and do whatever you enjoy in the outdoors. So I'm a huge
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I saw a few weeks ago, and I also sent you a DM when I saw it, but I saw in your stories where you were working out and you jumped so high on that cube. Are
thank
you
you.
quite active?
I am I've been working out for a few years now, but when I first saw that box, it switches to different heights. And when I started working out, I wouldn't even jump it. I would just step on it. And my trainer was saying like, you can do it. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. And it took maybe like 3 years, but also the fact that I decided like this, I'm doing this and I'm gonna jump it. Thank you so much. Yes, it means a lot to me to finally be able to clear it.
Yeah, no, it was excellent. I was like, wow, that's impressive. Good. So, Telma, tell us, what did you think to share with the audience and our followers today on how to stay strong for the rest of the year?
Okay, well, I think I'm just gonna honestly share my perspective and what I think is super important to keep in mind and to really just be intentional. So if I could really start with one word, I would say I would hope that everybody takes the moment to just be intentional. It can be a daily practice. For me, it is, and it has really, really, really helped a lot. So I would really recommend. Oh my God, Jamie's now.
And we just spoke about your program to
I
everyone. So,
have that you're here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, talking about strong for the rest of the year and resilient and present. So I was just saying that you really need to stay intentional, that you want to be aware of how you're feeling and really listen to your body and your thoughts and your mind. So many of us are thinking, oh my gosh, it's the holiday season, who's going to host it, where I'm going to spend it, who it's going to be part of it, all the planning, right? All the planning. But in the midst of the planning, sometimes you still have to take care of yourself first, which I don't know if you know anything about me. I am a huge proponent for self-care and making yourself a priority so you can be the best version of yourself for others. And if there's that time here that really requires that, it would be this one. So take the time, even if it's 5 minutes, to just be with yourself and realize and make the intention of how you want to feel the day. How do you want to like express yourself? How do you want to be remembered for the day? And sometimes those questions can really put you on a reflective mode to where you can decide that today I want to be present and I want to be happy and I want to be intentional. It can be 1 to 3 words, whatever, as long as you is something that you can really feel and believe, because if you don't believe it, then it's probably not gonna happen.
yeah, that's so true. I think also many times that there's or at least at the beginning, the notion that self-care means journaling or reading or sitting on the couch being by yourself, which not it's not what it is, right? It's also for me being very active. I think one thing that I'm not negotiable of or on is being active. And
Oh
that doesn't have to be a workout. It doesn't have to be something exceptionally dramatic, but definitely movement is it helps my mood a lot, a lot.
yeah, sure. And for me too, I actually don't I am not the same person when I work out, and it's very obvious to my little circle when I did that. So there's really 4 things that you should really take care of, and one of them is the physical, which is the body movement, and it can be as high intensity or as easy as your body allows, as long as you are kind of processing some deep breaths at a time. It's definitely transforming your body and the chemistry of your body. And then the emotional health, where you really have to be with your emotions. It doesn't have to be through journaling. It took me years to get into the whole thing, and for a long time I resisted it because I was just like, I don't have time to sit and write my emotions. But little by little, it definitely kind of proved me wrong. So I highly recommend it, even if you start with a minute, 1 word, something.
Yeah.
And there's the social one. So many people think that you have, even for introverts, I know introverts gain energy by being with themselves, and that is great. You need to do that, but you still need to be able to have somebody to talk to or somebody to approach and to let go, to like disconnect from all of your distresses. And sometimes friendships bring that possibility of just having fun. So we often underestimate the power of laughing, of being like childlike.
Yeah.
So
You
whoever
said
brings, sorry.
No, no, no. Especially if we think back to the last 18 months when we couldn't really socialize and how that took our energy as well, just working from home or being inside the whole time and not always in a social situation also takes your energy. So you're absolutely right. Even introverts, it's because they also want to socialize. It's just not necessarily with big groups all the time, but it is very important. I want to go back
Yeah.
to the emotions. It's quite interesting for me because we are programmed to not want to have negative, and I still don't have the right language, but negative emotions like frustration or irritation or at times even anger. And this is something that I've seen in the last few weeks. I see a lot of people struggling with anger, and I think it is just part of coming out of the situation that we were in. How do you deal with it? Because you have the reaction or the temptation just push aside and ignore these feelings, but they don't tend to go away, do they?
No, no, and honestly, I feel like we do live in a society, especially in the States. I'm not gonna speak for Europe, but in the States, they tell you to put like best foot forward, to just show your best self, and you can. Obviously, everybody wants to see your best version, but that doesn't stop you from being human. And
Mm,
when in so many emotions, you are gonna reach a boiling point, an explosion point in which you're gonna be forced to feel those emotions. So I personally think that it's a lot easier and a lot more healthy to allow yourself to feel that emotion. When you're feeling anger, when you're feeling frustrated, recognize it, name it, and then in those 6 seconds that it takes you to be like, oh my god, I'm so angry, and normally you in your body somewhere. For me, it's in my stomach. I work out my abs that I don't have, but that would be a time in which I was like, oh. In that time, you can either fight, freeze, or flight. And if you take those 5, 6 seconds to recognize the feeling, you normally slow down enough to where you respond versus react. So
yeah.
when you're so angry and
Mm,
you're most likely gonna react before you even know, and that's when people explode and like lose it and completely make a tantrum out of something that could have taken the 6 seconds to recognize the feeling. I'm feeling frustrated, and this is why. And then you can choose to respond and say, am I going to remember this in 10 years? Probably not. Or is this angry driver probably rushing to see some, I don't know. Angry drivers, there's a lot of them here. And I
yeah.
rush into the hospital for some reason, and I'm like, yeah, poor thing, they should probably just get going.
So yeah, exactly. It's true, and I think that sometimes there's a misunderstanding that if you feel these emotions, that you need to react on it. I think sometimes you can just say, I'm frustrated right now, I'm extremely irritated, but I'm going on with my day, or I am still joining this meeting, or I'm still finishing my project, and just acknowledge the feeling is there. It is also just a feeling. It's not a direction that where you need to go. But I find that if we don't acknowledge that, that also wears us out.
Yeah, I feel like when you try to swallow it and try to just suck it up, you literally keep it inside, and therefore you're not allowing the chemistry of your body like to function the same. So for me, it has, and I did that a lot for many, many, many years. So I would highly recommend you just taking the second to recognize it. I personally breathe it out, and it's like that deep breath kind of just allows me to decide: am I gonna react, and probably regret what I'm about to say, or can I just take the 6 seconds that it takes for me to take control and respond to it, to where you can just say, yeah, I'm super frustrated, but honestly, I have so much to do that I'm gonna have to like, I don't have time to fight this. Like, it's not my time, or it's not worth my energy. You can choose the moment that you decide to respond to something, you can choose what is worth your time and your energy. And many of us waste a lot of energy on something that is not going to pay back. It's not going to make you feel any better. So it's just being aware. I feel like being aware is definitely where you can just, but don't suppress emotion. I'm a huge proponent to just feel
Just
it.
go on with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have a new colleague that joined our team, and she's just starting a new role, and everything is picking up. And I spoke to her in the beginning of last week, and she said that her whole calendar is booked out. You know, people want to onboard her and explain things to her, and she doesn't even have a breath. And I said to her, you know, can you move some of that? Can you move some of it to this coming week, or maybe even in November? And what was interesting is that it didn't even cross her mind to do that. And I think that that is something that we can challenge, you know, just because if you have an 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 day with just calls and meetings back to back, there's no way for you to replenish your energy. And I think we don't say no or later or can we do it at another time enough, in my opinion. We just hustle through or push through or go for it and just hope we get to Friday where we can rest and recover.
I know. I feel like there's a lot of corporates that, especially with the working from home, went crazy with the back-to-backs meetings and didn't realize how much burnt out that put on the team, or the fact that they didn't really have even a time to stretch between meetings because they would, like, one would run out late, so they would show up late to the next one, and it was a six cycle. But honestly, we have even the big corporates are catching on to the fact that that's not the way to go, and that no can hang on, that like that span of attention is unreasonable for any human being. So if you really want to put your best foot forward, you do need to take breaks, and you do need to take the time to decompress between one meeting to the other, so you can, you know, be present. A lot of people are saying that they're recommending 45-minute meetings, so you have those 15 minutes to finish the notes, email away, or even stand for a minute, do a little tiny circle, lap, jump, whatever moves your body, and then move on to the next one. But there's nothing wrong with boundaries. I know that there's the word and the saying no is just like, oh my gosh, but I'm brand new, I'm gonna get fired. No, you're actually not. You're not. You're making sure that you show up your best self. If you can even block, it's your calendar, so before people go nuts on it, you can block yourself for 15 minutes or your lunchtime to where you can actually decompress, think of the meeting that you just had, versus just always being like back to back, to where at the end of the day you don't even realize what the first meeting was about.
Exactly. And also, I think when you find yourself in that situation, is to change it. Just look at the calendar and see who you can reschedule. If there is a possibility, there's almost always an opportunity to make some space in the calendar, and you don't have to suffer through it.
Right. And there's nothing wrong, but you can accomplish the same thing in 45 minutes concentrated that in an hour, versus the chit chat or the 5 minutes that they were like, okay, we're going to give everybody 5 minutes to join. Or not, you can just give everybody those 5 minutes. And when you start the meeting, you really start the meeting. So there's super easy ways that you can just communicate that. And it's not a rude request. You can just say, we can get through this for 45 minutes and thank you. And that's it.
Absolutely. I also find that I lose energy when I do things that I don't see what's the point. You know, that sometimes when you're on a project or in a meeting and you're like, oh, you know, and it's like also one of those that last a long time, and I think that that just takes my energy. And I got this advice a long time ago, and I love it. It is just that for every meeting or every project or every situation that I go into, I think about what can I learn from it. Like what is the point of this, and what can I learn from it? What can I take from it? And just that makes the 45 minutes investment just so much more valuable for me.
I would have to agree. I worked in the corporate world for a long time, and in my last position, I worked with a lot of people that are a lot older than me, and so their way of expressing themselves is completely different. And it's, yes, some meetings are just you're just like, what was the agenda again? Why are we here? What are we doing? Is there a point? And all these thoughts. But honestly, the moment that you even say, like, I want to learn how this person expresses themselves, like, I really like the way that they go about a meeting. I like the way that they lead it, or I do not like the way that they lead it. If you can learn something, whether that you want to take in or that you do not want to take in. So either way, every time that you find yourself in a meeting, there's something that you can learn if the value of what's being presented is not quite there. It's also, I think it goes back to being intentional and being aware of, if you're there, might as well make it worth your time.
Exactly. You might as well get something out of it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're doing a challenge potentially in November. What is this about?
Oh my gosh. I'm actually just considering getting into like a little tiny 3-day challenge or 5-day challenge. I haven't really decided into just helping people staying intentional to how they can show up during the holiday season, because
Mm.
moms or as workers or as all the hats that we wear as people, you normally just start getting into like, oh my gosh, but the holiday season's here, I need to decorate, I need to like, and the agenda and the to-do list and the expectations that are set on you normally take over. And I have noticed that by the end of Christmas, you're just not ready to just open the presents and just, can you just like, you're not really enjoying it anymore. And I want to come up with a little challenge to help people to stay present, to where they can really enjoy themselves and they can actually make it what they enjoy. So many of us, I have noticed, maybe I have noticed that on myself many years ago. I would be a fan of making everybody happy because it's the holidays and I wanted everybody to enjoy themselves. And at the end of it, I would be exhausted, but then not necessarily had time, like had fun myself. So I want to help people stand for themselves to where they can make the holidays something that they can enjoy too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'll keep an eye on, and if you let me know when it's live, then I will also, of course, promote it on my side, because that's always, it's like so perfect. I also enjoy this time of the year when you start to reflect a bit on what were all the great things that happened, and also what lies ahead in 2022. I think it will be for us an interesting year, not necessarily bad or good or whatever. I think it will be an interesting year for us.
I think so. Yeah, I feel like the whole COVID and the changes and the updates that made into the world set everybody on a reflection mode, whether we wanted it or not. We kind of got put into a timeout, right? And I feel like it's an amazing, beautiful time and opportunity for you to realize how is it that you want to spend your time and your energy, and who do you want to spend it with, and what is it that is worth, what are you going to remember in 10 to 15 years? And so you can better show up and also not give your energy to something that is not gonna change your life, or it's not gonna really be something that in 10 years you're gonna be like, oh man, I really remember that meeting. That was so terrible.
You're
Nobody.
not. Well, I know all us believe our careers are super important, and they are, but yeah, it's also putting it into perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And life is too short to make your career your number one goal.
Oh, absolutely. So then my last question then, Telma, is what would you like one thing to recommend to people watching our live and our IGTV afterwards? What can they do to stay strong this for the rest of the year?
I would personally just say stay aware of your emotions, allow yourself to feel them, and stay present with yourself so you can be better for others. So you can do that by journaling if it works for you. You can do it by a workout when you walk by yourself, just time with yourself in which you can just think and decide. I thought that meditation was a word that totally freaked me out for a long time because I'm too hyper. But I have recently found out that when I'm working out and I'm putting my body and my mind to function at the same time, you enter into a tiny meditation, and without even knowing, you're setting your body in a different path. So just find your own way of setting your mind and your body into the same thoughts, so you can be intentional and aware, and listen to yourself first. Would be my advice.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent reminder that because the thing we're in tune with our emotions, it doesn't take the energy. And I think for me, I would say the number one thing to do is to say no when you need to say no, because no doesn't always mean no, absolute no. It could also mean, can we do it later, or, could we do a later time, and just give yourself some space. We don't have to have 16-hour days.
No, you don't. And also, you show up better for it. You are going to be better for your body. Like when this life, that when your shoulder hurt, I really respected that. The fact that you put yourself first. And I really appreciated that, because when you're suffering through it, you don't show up with the same energy. And why would you? There's really, I can say no right now, or thank you for thinking of me at this moment. I overcommitted myself. There's many beautiful ways of setting a boundary or saying no, that are totally respectful and polite and even nice.
Yeah, I completely agree, because it's also better to just be honest, Because you know why I mentioned that time to you that I need to step out of our life is because you show up with your energy, and if I'm not there to contribute or really in a good space, then that also makes it harder for you. So I also felt it is my responsibility to speak up.
Yeah. That's a huge reminder for everybody. You have to be responsible of the energy that you show and you give to this world. So many people like land on the being victims, blaming others, blaming the day, blaming the fact that everything is everybody else's fault. But it's a lot easier for you to feel empowered by knowing that you are the only one that controls your emotions. So yeah.
Oh, great. So what lies ahead for you today?
Mondays are, I'm still recovering from the whole holiday weekend because we had Halloween here and we had a party for my brother who turned 30 and it was a big deal.
Oh,
Yeah, had like a family, a friend reunion, and my daughter is super into Halloween, so it was Halloween every day of the week with different costumes and different activities, and it is so much fun to watch. So today I'm gonna fully take out like a 30 minute to just recover with myself, and then push through the rest of the week. I have maybe come up with this challenge that I want to finalize and present, so we can have some fun together, and fun and to move your body. So that's always definitely always gonna be on my calendar.
oh, that's good. That's excellent. Yeah, keep me posted about that challenge.
Yeah, it should be fun. I will let you know.
Right. Okay, Telma, have a wonderful day.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you, and have a wonderful week as well. Stay present, and great talking to you.
Thank you very much. We'll speak soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.